college football news. Like, subscribe, and share. And we're going to get straight into this topic today in the pregame look between Ohio State and Notre Dame. Season opener in the Horseshoe coming up Saturday night, a night game in Columbus. And we're going to get into who's going to win, why they're going to win, and how they're going to win. The best college football channel for pregame and postgame reactions and highlights to all the latest, biggest games of the college football season. Getting right on into this, we all know Ohio State has a great offense. That's not going to be their problem this year. You can see last year, 45 points per game first. Yards per game, 561.5 first. Points per play first. Yards per play first. Third down conversions, third. Fourth down conversions, 43rd. Red zone scoring, 14th. The offense isn't going to be the problem. It's going to be the defense. As we take a look at defensive statistics, and this is where they're going to be into some trouble this year. You can see their opponent's rush play percentage, 47.36. Opponent's rush yards attempt, 3.627. Not bad. Opponent's rush yards a game, 34.5. Number 24, not bad. And opponent's rush yards, 127.8, 24th. This isn't going to be so much the problem as their inability to defend the pass. And you can see what their statistics were on that, and it was horrible. You can see 52% of the time teams had a pass play opponent completion percentage, 61.61, 74th in the league. Horrible. Opponent yards per play in the year, 6.9, 34th, not bad. Opponent's passes per game, 35, 117th. Good for their defense. Opponent's pass yards a game, 246. That's 87th in the country. That's 87th, like I was saying, that's horrible. You can see their opponents' interceptions thrown. They were 63rd in picks, and that's not very good. And they were 44th in the country with 7.43% sacks. That's in the middle of the road. But the Ohio State defense gave up way too many yards on the ground, way too many yards in the air. They gave up almost 400 total yards a game, and they got exposed against teams like Michigan, Oregon, and many others. And you can see here in the biggest game of the season that we're looking at right here against their arch rival, the University of Michigan, did what they want, when they want, all game in that game, on their way to a victory over the Ohio State Buckeyes and on their way to Indianapolis for a Big Ten championship, right? But as we get into this now, who's going to win the game? If we look at the Notre Dame total defense, it's all about, can Notre Dame's defense stop Ohio State's offense, because it is an explosive offense and they are just ranked where they should be. I believe they're the third-ranked team in the country in the preseason. Notre Dame, I believe, is highly overranked at number 5. Even though Notre Dame had a good defense last year, that's going to be the question if Notre Dame can pull the upset of the century for the new coach coming in. Not the upset of the century, but a great start, and would be a great upset in the Horseshoe, because Ohio State barely ever loses there. You can see average per pass, 6.8. Average per catch, 11.1. Average per game passing against Notre Dame, 224.2. Total TDs passing, 13. Total plays, 888. Average per play, 5.3. Average per game, 359.5 yards a game of total offense against the Notre Dame defense. And is that going to be enough? Can the Notre Dame defense hold up? Are they able in the trenches to battle with Ohio State mano-a-mano and push that offensive line of Ohio State, which is one of the better offensive lines in the country, right? They have a stout offensive line. Their wide receivers with Smith and Jigba. They got Henderson in the background. They're going to be a dynamite offensive team this year, just like they were last year. But the one caveat to the Ohio State offense that, to me as a Michigan fan, watching Ohio State for 25 years, 30 years, is they do not have a running quarterback this year. He is a zero threat, zilch, nada, nothing, a threat from the quarterback position to run the ball. And for Michigan, that's how Michigan was able to overcome that passing attack, because they could just tee off on the running back. They didn't have to worry about the RPO, the quarterback taking off and taking it 55, 60 yards like Troy Smith, right? And like Braxton Miller. So many of those other quarterbacks that they've had there at Ohio State, they don't have that last year, even though C.J. Stroud is the best passer maybe in college football, Heisman Trophy front runner to start the season. His inability to run the football, just because he's not that fast, is a game changer for teams. But I don't think Notre Dame's defense is going to be able to keep them off the board enough and hold them to field goals like Michigan did last year to beat them in the final game in Ann Arbor. I think the Ohio State University takes down Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and that little leprechaun, even though I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think Notre Dame's offense, with a new coach, a new system, going into that hostile environment, is going to be able to handle what Ohio State offensively throws at them. They'll be able to hang with them, but I don't think they're going to be able to take out the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think in a close game, Ohio State wins by 6 points, maybe 13 points if they get a late touchdown to pull away to seal the deal. But I think it'll be close. But I think the offensive firepower from Ohio State is going to be too much. And you can see sacks by yards, 35 for 216 for their defense, right? Field goal attempts, 28. Red zone scoring, 79%. That's not, their opponent scored on them 79% of the time. That's not going to get the job done against Ohio State. Red zone touchdowns, 38% of the time. That's something that might help them and keep them in the game by forcing them to kick field goals. But that's going to be the end of this pregame Ohio State Notre Dame video. Subscribe, share, like it, talk about it, spread the message to get people onto this channel, as we're your best pregame, postgame reactions, highlights, predictions, and everything that has to do around the biggest games in college football. That's what we're going to be covering, pre-games and post-games, and all the highlights on the biggest games, the greatest upsets, and the wildest plays of the college football 2022 season. Peace and love.